Find a formula for the perimeter P of the polygons below. And so we can see one polygon, all of it right there, and then there's another one that's right down here. So let's take a look at how we could come up with a formula for these perimeters. So we want to be sure that we're familiar with what we're being asked to do here. So let's take a look. We're being asked to find a formula. And so a formula is like an equation, but it's just going to have more than one variable running around in it. So that we're going to expect to be using lots of different variables in our formula. Now we're also being asked to find the perimeter. And so when we see that we're looking for the perimeter, remember that means the word that's kind of hiding in here is the rim. We want to find the distance around these figures. And when we have odd shaped figures like this one and this other one down below, what we're looking to do is just add our way all the way around the rim. So let's see what we have here. We're going to be using the variable p for perimeter. So for this first one, the perimeter is going to equal, well, I'm just going to start here at the top at B, and I'm going to work my way clockwise around the figure. So we have B is the first side, and then I add the length of the second side is H, and then I'm going to add the R. And then notice I have another R that's going around the corner there. And finally, one more H. And I can see I have 5 sides here. I should have 5 sides on my figure, and yep, that's true. So now we can go ahead and we want to be sure that we simplify our formulas. We don't want to just leave it with all of these variables if we can tidy it up a little bit. And we see that we can do that. So the perimeter for this first one is going to equal, well, let's see, we've got this one B here, but there aren't any other B's. So that B is just going to come on down. And then when I take a look at the H, I can see that I have one H here and I have another H here. So that means I have a total of two H's. And then when I take a look at the R's, I have one R here and I have one R here. So that means that I have a total of two R's. So that would be our final simplified formula for the perimeter there. Now this next one is going to be a little bit trickier because they haven't come right out and told us the length of all the sides. They've left a couple of sides missing. Now we have to trust that they're going to give us enough information that we can figure this problem out with the information they've given us. So we have to look pretty carefully at this. So let's start off by looking at this side here. So this side here, it's an up and down side, okay, it's a vertical side. So we want to look to other vertical sides on this figure that might help us with that. And I can see this little side here has a length of x, and this little side here has a length of z. And if you notice, because all of these are nice square angles, this z side would basically come across over to here. And that would be kind of this distance from here to here is going to be z. And up here, this distance here is going to be the same as x, because that's just if we just kind of follow that line over. So we can see this whole side here. We could write the length of this side right here as x plus z. So that whole side we need to write in formula form. We don't just have a single variable for that. Let's see if we can do the same thing for this horizontal side down here that we don't know the length of. So we can see the other horizontal sides. We see this W side here, and we see the Y side here. So again, if we think about this the same way, if we think about kind of bringing this, extending that line down, we can see that this portion here is Y, and we can see that this portion here is W. And so the whole side, this whole thing, is going to be W and then Y together. So it's going to be W plus Y. So that's that whole side. Now we have information about all the sides, and so now we need to add them all up together. And again, we have to be real careful to be sure that we get all the pieces we need. So we know we're looking for a perimeter, so let's start with P. The perimeter is going to equal, again, I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to work my way around this way. So we start with one side that has a length of W, and then I'm going to add to that. I'm going to add this X side here, and then I'm going to add this Y side. Okay, so I'm going to add the Y, and then I'm going to add the Z, and now we have to be careful. This next side that we're going to add, the whole side, remember, is W plus Y. So I'm going to put that in green just to remind us that that's that whole side plus W plus Y. Okay. And if we want to, we could put that in parentheses just to remind us that that all holds together as that one side. And then we're going to do the same thing over here with this far left side, that whole side that we said was X plus C. We're going to add that part, that side on as well. So that's going to be plus, and again, we can put it in parentheses just to remind us that it all holds together, X plus C. Now this is really long and drawn out, so let's see if we can tidy this up a little bit. Let's see if we can simplify. So P, the perimeter, equals, well, let's start with this W. So we've got this W here, and we want to scan through and say, do we have any other W's? Now we should probably be a little careful. We don't want to be adding things that are still inside parentheses. But notice that all of these just have a plus sign outside. There's nothing that would distribute through in the parentheses. So I'm actually going to take one step just to rewrite this without the parentheses in place, because we know we can't combine things that are outside parentheses with things that are inside parentheses. We can't have any parentheses going on. So I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite all of this without the parentheses in place. Otherwise, we could get into trouble. So plus X and then plus that last C. So now let's add everything up here. So we have this first W. Do we have any other W's? It's like, yep, we've got another W there. So we can say that P equals, well, we had one W and another W, so that gives us two W's. And I'm going to cross those off just to remind myself that I've already dealt with those, and that'll help me to kind of track what I've used already. And now let's see what we have next. We have an X. Do we have any other X's? Yep, we've got one more X down here. So that means that we can add two X's. And so I'm going to cross those off because I've used those up now. And then we have a Y. We've got a Y here. Do I have any other Y's? Yep, there's another Y there. So that's going to be 2Y. And do notice, folks, that I'm keeping my variables all capital because we were given capital letters in our diagram. We want to be sure that we keep our variables capital when we write our perimeter formula over here. So let's see, that was the Y's. So I'm going to cross those Y's off. And then the last thing we have are the Z's. I've got a Z here, and I've got a Z here. And so that is going to give me 2Z. And so that's the formula for the perimeter of this shape over here. We had some extra work to do on it, but we still managed to get where we needed to go.